Hello, everyone. It's Cheri here. I just wanted to take a few minutes. I babysit my granddaughter every day, and she's still asleep. So I wanted to take this time to get on here and just bring you just a short message. I've been on YouTube for, oh my gosh, a long time. 5 years, I guess, or longer. And I've had many people call for my channel to be dismantled because they say that I'm teaching garbage. And I just want to say that, to those people that, I'm not, number one, I'm not teaching anything. I'm sharing. I don't preach. To me, preaching is preaching to someone about sin and how they're going to go to hell, and making myself to be more righteous than others are. The fact is that sin is not in my vocabulary. Love is, because love covers a multitude of sin. So we have to remember that we have pastors pointing their fingers, you keep sinning, you're going to go to hell. If you keep doing this, if you keep doing that, when they're doing the same things, everyone sins are the same, just different sins, So sin is not in my vocabulary. I don't even say the word because sin no longer exists. And really, it never did exist except for in the minds and hearts of the people who were bound to a law. So, to those people who say that the love mongers, which I include myself in that, a love heretic or whatever, are going to hell, I say that when you listen to the words of Jesus, and when you, and I'm not saying only reading it in the Bible, but when you actually listen to the words that Jesus speaks to you in your heart, then you will understand that love is the answer to everything. It's the answer to wars. It's the answer to hate. It's the answer to fear. It's the answer to all things. Love is, it covers a multitude of evil, a multitude of sin. So Jesus told us to love the Lord. I don't even want to say Lord. Sorry about that. To love the Father and to love one another. And in loving one another, we are loving the Father, because the Father is in each and every one of us. He is in all of his creation. We have to remember that the Father gave himself to be in his creation. And so he's in all things through Christ. So I'm not going to dismantle my channel, and I'm going to keep making videos as the Father sees fit for me to do. I'm not preaching. I'm not teaching. I'm sharing. I share what the Lord, I'm sorry, that's a bad habit. I'm sharing what the Father gives to me, and what he shares with me. And that's really what we need to do. We need to share with one another, not preach at one another, not teach one another. We don't need any teachers. We don't need any preachers, for the Father is now all in all. He's in our hearts, and he leads us if we listen to the Spirit within. He leads us to all truth. We just need to listen. So I won't be dismantling my channel, but I do want to convey the importance of love. loving one another with divine love. Now, what is divine or agape love? It's the love that the Father has for us, unconditional. He sees himself in all of his creation, his goodness, his light. Okay? When people say there's good and bad, really it's light and darkness. When you're in the presence or when you're out of the presence. Now, what does the presence mean? Well, the presence of the Father is always there in his creation, but it's whether we choose to turn our hearts against it, or if we choose to turn our hearts towards it and embrace the light. When we turn against the light of the Father in us, then we're in darkness. But the presence of the Father is always there. He never leaves us, nor does he forsake us. He's always with us, within. So in saying that, how do we communicate with the Father? Many communicate through prayer. Many communicate through meditation. Many people just feel that presence and they are drawn to it, and they communicate by the acts of love that they have flowing from them, from the Father through them. And these are all ways that we communicate with him. That is our worship. Our worship is allowing the love of God, of the Father, to flow from us to each other, to the world, to the creation. And that is our worship. It's really nice to sit down and listen to music, to what they call worship music. It could be any music. I can listen to secular music and hear God in it. And music is a good thing. It really calms the soul and gives peace. And what it does is that it does something in our brain, okay? And it starts to transfer our left brain thinking over to the right brain, and that puts everything into motion within us, and the spirit within us. So music is a good thing. I love music. It's wonderful therapy for really everything. It really does soothe the soul. But our true worship is not only in that, but it's truly just the love that flows from us, the love of the Father that flows from us into one another. And in order for this to happen, we must have a renewal of our minds from the darkness to the light, see? And once this happens, the heart transforms and it becomes flowing like rivers of living water to one another. So it's so important how we think, how we speak, and how we feel about one another. And you can act nice to someone, but then in your mind be thinking bad thoughts about that person. And, we're all guilty of that. We're human beings, and it's really hard to resist that. But, when you are operating in divine love in all things, and it's just, when I first started operating in divine love, I would have to remind myself, all right, the Father is in that person. When they would make me upset or angry, I would have to remind myself, the Father is in this person. Father is in this person. The Father is in this person. Until I could actually see the light radiating from them. And how can you be angry with a Father? To be angry with someone else, or let's say with your husband, is to be angry with a Father. To be angry with your children is to be angry with a Father. With your neighbor, with a coworker, with a stranger. It's to be angry with a Father. To be wrathful towards one another is to be wrathful towards the Father. in Facebook, to delete another person as a friend is to be deleting the Father. Just because of your anger or because someone's said something that you don't like. That's why I try not to do that. Except for in harassing situations. And I mean extreme harassing situations. And there's only been maybe 2 that's happened with. But, what we do to one another, we're doing to him. We have to get this through in our thinkings and in our hearts. That unless we realize this, once we do realize it, then things start to change. We start to change. And that makes others change. And this love, this agape divine love, can and will change this world that we live in. It will bring it from the darkness to the light. And that is our true calling here. People say, oh, I'm called to be a pastor, or I'm called to start a church, or I'm called to, sing worship songs. What you're truly called to do is to bring the light into this dark world. Because love covers a multitude. Love covers everything. I mean, divine agape love, that is. So this is what's going to change this world, John Lennon had it right when he sang about peace and love and how it's going to change the world, and how it can change the world, because it will, and it can. And those who are now operating in this agape love understand that this is our mission, this is our calling, our true calling, is to take the love that's operating in us and to let it flow like rivers of living water to everyone and everything that we touch. It's so important that we understand that this is our calling. Nothing else. Nothing greater, nothing less. But love is the greatest. There is nothing greater than love. Pure, divine, agape love. And it's very, once you start operating in that love, we may fall and we may stumble, but we're always brought back to that pure love. The Spirit always brings us back to that pure love. I can't stress it more about our calling. We're not called to be pastors. We're not called to spread the gospel of Christ. We're not called to do anything but spread, but let the rivers of living water, which is love, divine agape love is living waters, flow into this realm, into this earth. That is the gospel. The gospel message is love. Because Christ is love manifest here with us and for us. It is the divine love. And now that love is within us. And that is our only commission. That is our only calling, is to let it flow. And it's not real easy. I mean, unless you truly have had a renewal of your mind and a transformation of your heart, then this love, this agape love, is not going to exist in you. And first you have to see, before this renewal of the mind, you have to see God or the Father in everything. You have to see him in a tree. and a flower and the grass in your yard, because all are living because of him, because he's within that living thing. When you see him in the children, in the old people, in the young people, in the middle-aged, when you see him in the white, in the black, in the Indian, in the Asian, when you see him regardless of these things, he's there. See, the color of our skin, our ethnicity, it has really been a cause for hate in this world because we're different. And when you have a majority of people who are the same, then the minority of people are always cast out, shunned, hated. We have brought this on ourselves. That's not agape love. Agape, divine love, is loving everything and everyone in this creation, because the Father exists within each and everything that's living, each and every person that's alive. And so this racial hate that we have in this world is driven by our own stony hearts. People who have this hate do not know agape love. Anyone who hates another does not know or understand this agape love, because hate is not even in your vocabulary. Sin is not in your vocabulary. So if you're a Christian going around spreading, telling people that they're in sin, they're going to hell, you're not in agape love. You don't know it, or you wouldn't be saying these things. You must have a renewal of the mind. And God, the Father, calls all. He draws us near. It's nothing that we do. We don't draw him near. He draws us, and he draws everyone, because he's in everything, and every person, and every animal, and every living thing. So he has already drawn us. I think that's probably about all that's on my heart to talk about today. I have other things that I would like to bring to you all soon. But right now, I think that's where I'm going to leave this message. But I love you all. I truly, truly, divinely agape love you. You're my brothers and my sisters. And I just want to thank you all for being supportive and for subscribing to my channel, because that really, it's encouraging to me that people are listening to what I share, and that they care about what the Father's saying through me. And so I want to thank you all so much. When you hit that subscribe button, that means you're listening and that you love me. And I also love you. And thank you so much for that. And I just want to tell you that I hope your day is blessed. We can have blessings in every situation, no matter what we're going through. Just put a smile on your face and let that agape love flow, and it'll make you also feel better. All right, I'll end it right there. Love you all. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.